Welcome, welcome, welcome. One of these days we're gonna we're gonna go to school for a full week.
Oh, it's never happened yet.
We have to. I mean, sooner or later we have to. And it's got to be next week if we're going to do it in February, because the following week is ACTs, so that's 2 days that are lost, and then yeah. So one of these times we're going to go class, but afternoon. Yeah, like you show up at 12:30, so that's wasted day. All right. So, couple of reminders here first. So, your 4-mod, or the next time that you have class after today, your 4-mod day is going to be the day of the test. And you're going to take your test on that 4-mod. So, in preparation for that, we tweaked the schedule once, then we tweaked the schedule a second time. I think this is where I'm like, I don't know, Plan F or Plan G or something like that.
Plan K.
Okay? So, the packet that you picked up, the yellow packet that you picked up when you came in today, that needs, that first page, and only the first page, needs to be done by Wednesday. Okay? Now, the reason that we put it on Wednesday is because that's when we're going to talk about law of sines. Okay? You've learned law of sines already. You learned it in geometry. Okay? So this is refresher for you. Okay? Which is why we're putting it out there for you to do on your own over the weekend if you want to, or next Tuesday. I mean, let's be realistic, or next Tuesday night. Okay? Because I would personally rather have you focus on 5.1 and 5.2 this weekend than the other stuff in law of science. Okay? There will be some videos on its learning, or a video for sure on its learning. And then if you're still confused about law of science, there's plenty of Khan Academy videos and Math by Fives videos and things like that on this one. Okay? So that's Wednesday. In preparation for your 4-mod, okay, or for your test, remember you've got 4 worksheets that you should all have now. Okay? So you should have those 4 worksheets, plus the 2 formatives, purple full sheet, green half sheet formative. Okay? So you got those 6 things that you can be doing to prep yourself for that. At some point in time today, make sure that you have a copy. Preferably it's already done, but if not, you at least have a copy of all 4 of those. If you need one of them or 2 of them or a couple of them, the first 3 are back there on the table, and the packet is up on the front. Okay? On top of all of that, if you still need extra practice, and let's be honest, that's what this stuff is all about. This stuff is all about extra practice. If you still need extra practice, on the back board there's book assignments that have great problems that you can be doing, and those homework assignments are already up. Those 2 we will not collect from everybody. These 4 we will collect from everybody. So the 4 worksheets we're collecting from everybody. The 2 book assignments are just yours for extra practice. Okay? Today in class, we were going to be doing some law of sines and stuff like that. And I think today was actually supposed to, on one version, today was law of cosines day. But, so now so we tweaked, and we tweaked, and we tweaked. Okay? And then we decided on Wednesday night, I was texting with Mrs. Hill after school got canceled, and I said, let's do a formative on Friday. Okay? I said, let's 3 questions. I want to simplify, a solve, and a verify. The 3 style of questions that you're going to see on your test. Okay? She's like, yeah, that's a good idea. I said, but I don't want to grade it. I don't want another grade in the grade book. I want questions. Okay? So we were going to take a formative today, and then we were going to surprise you at the end of class by saying, instead, I'm like, I'm not even going to waste the time printing off 3 questions when I'm just going to have to go through them on the board anyways. So what I need you to do, take out a sheet of paper, okay, and we're just going to do them. Okay? I'm going to give you time to do them, to struggle through them a little bit by yourself. Then we're going to go through them, and then we're going to do the next one. Struggle through it by yourself, go through it, and so on and so forth. Okay? Whoa, that's right. Hey, there's a table right here. Alright, so here's the first one. Simplify for me cosine cubed plus cosine sine squared. Okay, so what would you do first in this simplification problem? Factor what? Factor out a cosine. What's left over? Cosine squared plus sine squared. Okay? Cosine squared plus sine squared. What's that? That's the hammer, so this is 1. So my final answer here is just cosine. Or this simplifies to just be cosine. Okay? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Good with it? For a simplification? Maybe. Maybe it's already on there. One never knows. Okay? Alright, let's go to the next flavor. Solve over the interval 0 included to 2 pi excluded. I was lazy this morning and I didn't find the symbol for pi. What do I do first? Why do I have to put everything on one side? Because not only because I'm solving, but because there's multiple trig functions in there. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to subtract cotangent from both sides. Now, on the right side, I'm going to subtract cotangent. Yes. On the left side, I'm not going to subtract cotangent as is. I'm going to subtract cosine over sine. Because that's still cotangent, right? Right? Okay. So that gives me cosine cubed of x over sine of x minus cosine of x sine of x equals 0. With me? Yeah. Now, what I'd do is I would multiply the entire equation by sine of x. So that goes into here, that goes into there, and all the way over into there. Cosine cubed divided by sine times sine. What is cosine cubed times sine divided by sine? Just cosine cubed. Cosine times sine divided by sine. Just cosine. 0 times sine, which is 0. Okay. Now what? No, not subtract the cosine. What would you do next? Factor out what? A cosine, yep. Okay, so if I factor out a cosine, that leaves me with cosine squared minus 1. Can I change that to sine squared? Why not? Sine squared is 1 minus cosine squared, right? So I can't do that, so I can't change that to sine squared. But what I can do is I can say cosine of x is equal to 0, and cosine squared of x minus 1 is equal to 0. I can take my two factors and I can set them equal to 0. Now, where unit circle is cosine equal to 0? Pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. Second one over here, I would first add 1. Then I would square root. That gives me cosine of x equals plus or minus 1. So cosine is equal to positive 1 at 0. Cosine is equal to negative 1 at pi. So my final four answers here are 0, pi over 2, pi, and 3 pi over 2. Okay? Questions? Okay. Verify that one. We're all going to pick, remember when we're verifying, we pick the ugliest side. So you guys should all be picking the 1. Yep. Remember KB, you take the ugliest side, you make it look pretty. Just like me. Cosecant. What is cosecant squared? 1 over sine squared. Alternatively, what is cosecant squared? Alternatively, 1 plus cotangent squared. Okay. So yes, cosecant squared is 1 over sine squared, but cosecant squared is also, according to formula number 10 on your unit circle sheets, it's 1 plus cotangent squared. So you can use it, sometimes you use it like it's green, sometimes you use it like it's purple. Okay? Just kind of depends on which situation you're at. Okay? So this then simplifies on top to be sine squared over sine squared. The bottom simplifies to be just 1. Sine squared divided by sine squared is 1, which is 1. Okay. Now, if you didn't see the bottom was 1 plus cotangent squared, then more than likely you did something along this line where you said sine squared of x times 1 over sine squared of x is then 1 over sine squared of x minus cosine squared of x over sine squared of x. Right? That's fine. Okay. Top simplifies to be 1. Agree? Bottom, actually here, hold on. Tap it, that'll break. Oops. Now I got to erase. Down a little bit. Okay. So then, top is 1. Bottom is 1 minus cosine squared all over sine squared. 1 minus cosine squared is sine squared. Sine squared divided by sine squared is 1. So you got 1 over 1, which is 1. Okay? Again, it doesn't matter which way you go, provided that your way is 1, mathematically sound, and 2, we can follow along with your thinking. We can see what you're thinking and showing all of your steps. Okay? Again, I remind you that you have 6 things that you should have at 100% by Tuesday. 4 worksheets, 2 formatives. Okay? All right? That's all I got for you for today. Rest of the time now, in the last 5 minutes, questions. Q&A session.